right, first question. What is the difference between selfishness and acting without love, or simply being self-protective and not being able to give or not being able to give anything more? All right, so basically we're looking at selfishness versus self-preservation. That's a really good question. That's a very good question. Yeah. Thank you to whomever. Question of the day. Question of the day. It's a great question. The answer is you got to attend to your own happiness needs first. Now, here's the thing about it is that what does happiness mean? It's not really a matter of the word selfish. To take care of yourself and regard your love of self wholly means that as long as you are fulfilled and you are not depleted and you are not living in sacrifice and you are nobody's doormat, if you're replenishing yourself with whatever is necessary for you to feel whole and filled with a sense of self-love, what happens is when you're there, you're so full and you have an abundance of overflow of other stuff to give. So the things that might have depleted you in the past, all of a sudden they become something that you want to do or you want to give. And so the overflow of the abundance that comes from self-love and from self-focus means that in general, you're going to have more that you want to contribute to others. And then what it is that you contribute will be a choice, and it'll be a measure of what can you contribute and how would you like to contribute it, and so on, and to whom would you like to contribute it. There was no way that I saw this modeled better than when we swapped roles in my house when I started to do this, and I became the primary breadwinner and my husband became the primary caregiver. One of the only skill set that he didn't really pick up was like cooking, and to me it was important that the family eat, at least some modicum of food. Let's say that. I wanted some healthfulness in it, some regularity of meals and stuff like that, and that wasn't happening. So I was working, there were years when I was working so many hours, it was unbelievable. And I did not have any time to cook, but all I was doing was carrying around with me some guilt because the family was eating, in my opinion at the time, inadequately. So what would happen was I would, once in a while, I would storm in and I'd cook a healthy meal and I'd put it down and I'd wait for somebody to compliment me because, oh, how sweet, you work so hard and now you cook for us, you're the best, the food is so good. That never happened. Nobody paid any attention to the food, and I really didn't get any compliments because I was putting such a crappy energy into it, right? And then during the same period, I love to cook on Sundays. I don't make like the big, whatever meal, but I like to cook like when everybody's watching football. I like to make stuff for that, or I like to make a dessert, or I like to make a big soup that I freeze, or I make purple cakes. Purple cakes. I love to do that. And what's really amazing is during that period, if I would, once every 2 months actually cook all day on a Sunday, I got so much compliments on everything that I made. And it was because I was actually cooking with love. I was cooking because I wanted to. I wasn't cooking out of sacrifice. So when I thought I had to do it and I was mad that nobody else was doing it instead of me, it was a sacrifice, it was a burden, and I got no compliments. So this shows you how, if you are paying attention to yourself and you are making sure that you are filled up, that what contributions you do make and how you make them, they actually feel quite good, and they feel quite good to the people receiving as well. I have to tell you that nobody wants your sacrifice. They just don't. It's a burden, and you feel indebted and you feel guilty, and it's just ugh. And somehow, some way, I know you're going to make me pay this back. Nobody wants your sacrifice. We just don't. So if you're going to make a contribution, make it out of love and out of overflow. That's the answer. So the answer is that number one, what are your big goals, and does this contribution fit in with those goals? And number two, have you truly been fulfilling your own needs? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you happy? Are you living to work, even if it means taking care of other people, or are you working to live? We want to live more. We definitely want to live more and play more. I guarantee if you become the root of helping everybody with every problem, you might think it's temporary, but it isn't. Because as soon as you become the one with the biggest shoulders, they tell two friends, and they tell two friends, and so on, and so on, and so on. Okay? So yeah, right? It's the same as the theory of anybody that ever did a good job at work, right? We know where that goes. It's the same kind of thing. It's a balance of being able to take care of yourself and speak up for yourself as well, but make a contribution that really is the overflow of abundance and love that you have grown by keeping yourself full.